You need to wake the up. We're here to help you do that. Giving you the latest news, entertainment, unpopular opinions, conspiracies, and stories of the day, mixed with some kick-ass music, all with a cocktail of crazy hosts. Brace yourself. Now, here's the one and only Nick B.
Yes, yes, yes! It's time once again for what we like to call Nick B in the morning, the dumpster fire, known as Nick B in the morning for Tuesday, right? Today's Tuesday, May 28th, 2024. We got a lot to get into, but I can't get into any of it just yet because, as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Miss LB.
Hi.
And JR.
Hello.
JR is the one that is running the cameras and doing all of the technical stuff for us behind the scenes. Man, a very few words, but when he does speak, man,
There's zingers.
it's usually on point too. So good morning to everybody out there. Everybody that is listening to us or watching us in social media world. Just so you know, just a little bit of a note, we are a morning radio show. So when we go to break and you see the message that says, we'll be back in a few minutes or whatever, that's because we're playing music and we can't play music through the stream. So if you want to hear the music that we're playing, you need to download the Nick B Radio app, which is free for iOS and Android devices. We do have some plans to run some things during the breaks, but right now we're still getting all of that set up and getting everything ready to do that. So again, I know it's a pain when we are doing the show, and then there's and then you got the break that comes on and nothing is being said, and I know that can be annoying. So just make note of that. We're working on fixing it. If you want to learn more about us, www.nickbnation.com. That's where you can go and find everything you can about us up there. You can also find all the other shows that I host or even the podcasts that I do. So again, go up there, and we've got more stuff that's coming that's not just going to be from me. So getting pretty excited about that. And as I said, today is May 28th, 2024. It is the 149th day of the year. We have 217 days left in 2024. 19 days until Father's Day, 37 days until the 4th of July, 97 days until Labor Day, 156 days until Halloween, 184 until Thanksgiving, and 211 until Christmas. The fact that there's 97 days until Labor Day, and some kids are just now getting out of school and they only have they don't even have the 97 days. Like we used to have 97 days until we had to go back to school if we were, back in the good old days. But the kids basically have a little over 40 days, I think. They're right at like 45 or 50 days, depending on where you are. And that's just insane to me. Like we got 3 full months of summer, and the kids barely get 2 now. They get June and July, and that's pretty much it. They have to start getting ready in August. See, we didn't have to get ready until the end of August because after Labor Day is when we had to go back to school every year. And we got out of school like the first half of May. I want to say it was no later than like the 15th. I don't think we ever had Memorial Day at school as a kid. I think Memorial Day was our last official holiday, and they just ran it together with vacation, and they were like, okay, school's over. So go home. But somewhere down the line they said, nope, the kids can't be out. And you know what it is? I think it was because my generation went crazy and a lot of us got into trouble. So they were like, okay, we got to keep them kids in school longer because that's going to keep them from getting in trouble.
Keep the prison cycle going.
And then they gave them phones, and that just messed everything up. Once you get a cell phone, that's just oof. I'm glad I didn't have cell phones growing up. I'm glad none of my friends had cell phones growing up, because some of the stuff we did, I think you could still be held accountable for. So I'm glad there's no record of it. But yeah, so those were the good old days. And again, just a quick update. My weight loss journey is going good. I know it doesn't seem like it, but I have actually lost a lot of weight. My wife showed me a picture of me from, I want to say it was like Cinco de Mayo last year. So you're talking 12 months ago. I was freaking huge. I know I'm not a skinny beanpole yet. Not that I ever will be, because I've always been big anyway. But I've lost I've lost a lot of weight. I'm down an entire pant size, and I could actually go back down to a different shirt size. I just choose not to at this point. But my wife threw down yet again in the kitchen yesterday. When we came home, there was all kinds of food waiting for us. She had cooked her bomb ass chicken nuggets again.
Mm-hmm.
We got a new air fryer the other day where we can do two things at a time. So she's been really cooking a bunch of stuff in the new air fryer, and a food processor, I believe, is what she says she got, so that she can mix up her own chicken nugget batter and make it. And when I tell you them things are good, them things are delicious. And then we were able, she searched, because again, for those of you that don't know, my wife and I are doing a carnivore keto fasting kind of a diet. We kind of meshed a lot of things into it. My wife has done far greater at it and far better at it than I
Phenomenal.
have, because she gave up the one thing I seem to be having the biggest problem giving up, which is sugar. And I know a lot of people struggle with that, but I thought for me, the biggest thing for me to give up was going to be like bread, or worse, potatoes. I don't crave French fries anymore. Like, if I see them and I smell them, yeah, the parasites in my body are gonna want it. But
They go nuts.
yeah, I don't really crave French fries or even mashed potatoes like I used to. Like, used to be, I couldn't eat anything without mashed potatoes. So that's gone. And then the bread, my wife cooked hot dogs. Actually, JR is the one that cooked them, but my wife wanted a hot dog, and they did it on the Kamal so that it would be like a grilled kind of thing. You did pretty good on that, by the way. And the hot dogs that we had were great, but my wife had found the keto-friendly bread, and it was really chewy. Like, I'm not trying to slam it. If that's working for you, good for you. But for me, it was like, bleh. It was too chewy, and it's in the fridge, which I know it's better for you if it's in the fridge because it doesn't have all that crazy crap in it. But at the same time, it was like, why is it cold? Like, can I get it toasted? But I tried to eat half of the hot dog because me and my wife split one. I tried to eat half of the hot dog in the bun and just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it with the bread. There is something literally that has triggered in my head since I've been on this diet when it comes to bread. And it disgusts me, just the sight of it. I don't care if it's healthy. The only bread that I ate without that issue was my wife had made some homemade bread, and that was great.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get that icky feeling by eating it. The bread that I had last night, I got the icky feeling from. And it was like, nah, yeah, I don't, pass. Pass on that, homeboy. But, so
I
she did,
scarfed it down.
she did the, did you really?
Mm-hmm.
You ate the bread too?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice. She did the hot dogs. We had hot dogs. We had homemade chicken nuggets, and we had some what do you call them? Sugar cookies for dessert.
Mm-hmm.
And the sugar cookies weren't so much of the diet friendly because it had a little bit of sugar in it, but they were still good. And it wasn't massive amounts of sugar because, again, if you've ever listened to the show or you know anything about me, which most of you probably don't, I do have to have certain levels of sugar throughout the day. Not because I'm diabetic. I'm not diabetic. Don't come at me. No doctor really knows what the issue is, but I go through something that I refer to as spells, and the only thing that fixes it tends to be sugar. And if I don't have the right kind of sugar, then it throws everything off. And my wife has really been, working her tail off to find the healthier alternative so that I can get off of the nasty processed sugars. Yeah, like I had a Little Debbie the other day because I was having an issue because I've given those up. I'm not eating them anymore. And I had gone a week and I started feeling really bad and I needed one. So she gave me one because I was having an issue and it tasted so bad. And she was like, good, maybe your body's finally acclimated away from it. And I'm like, I don't ever want to taste that thing again. It's like the bread. Whatever it did to me with bread, that's what happened to me with the...
So it's like a rewire, kind of.
Yeah, that's what happened to me with the oatmeal cream pies from Little Debbie. I was like, nope, this was nasty. The only thing that hasn't done it is Reese's. Reese's Cups, they haven't done that yet. And again, I know they're not healthy for me, but sometimes I got to eat... the stuff that's not good for me. But my wife is switching that. She's working on a lot of things, and the sugar cookies last night were a fantastic start. And we've got these muffins that she found that are not bread. They're flaxseed, I believe, is what they're made out of. Don't ask me what it is. All I know is it's delicious. There's two types. There's the type that has some sugar in it, and there's the type that has no sugar in it. My wife tends to get the ones that have no sugar in it. I don't get those because there's only like four to six that come in the thing. The ones I get, there's like 13 because they put a little bit of real sugar in them. And those are the bomb too. But I'm just going to tell you, if you're over the age of 20, I'm 20, we'll say 30. If you're over the age of 30, don't eat more than two of them. Because you're going to spend your time in the bathroom, just letting you know. And it just hits you too. There ain't nothing you can do. Just deuce. So, yeah. But it was great. And again, the diet update, I kind of spoke on this a little bit yesterday. I am down into another category that I want to be in. I struggled to get into this lower number, but now that I am in it, I feel pretty good about everything that's going on. Because again, with my wife, I've noticed the change. And I'm not saying my wife was, humongous or whatever, but you can tell in her body, and everybody's been telling her, what are you doing? You've lost a lot of weight. You look really good. What's going on? With me, it's like, oh, hey. And I'm like, I lost weight too.
Give me some credit.
But you can't see it as easy on me, except for how you pointed out. My belly doesn't have the big roundness to it that it used to have.
A little pouch.
Yeah, which you can't really see that in the videos that I do, but it's definitely more lean. And my wife and I are trying to get to a point where we can actually start exercising, because we know if we started back with exercising, we would lose this last little bit of the stubbornness that we've got, and it'd be over. So, but yeah, that's what's going on with the diet. I did take some pictures of the food that she cooked. I know a lot of you guys have been saying, "Hey, where's the pictures of what she's cooking?" It was after I had scarfed down like 3 of the sugar cookies with keto-friendly icing, which is the bomb. Didn't even know that stuff could exist. And a sugar-free life for me is looking very appealing. The only problem, the only issue that I still have is the sugar in my coffee. Did y'all notice a difference with the sugar yesterday in the coffee?
Not really.
I haven't noticed a difference in it, except for we had to get from an organic store. We had to get sugar from an organic store. I don't know if that's any different than the sugar that you get from like Publix, but the sugar that we got from the organic store, I noticed when I pour the coffee in, I don't really have to stir it. It stirs itself, and it just kind of dissolves into the coffee way better than the stuff that we get from the grocery store. The stuff we get from the grocery store tends to clump at the bottom, and you really got to stir. That I didn't have that issue. I noticed it yesterday and today.
Yeah, when I poured my cup yesterday, after you had helped me fix it, when I stirred it, it was like, where's it at?
Yeah,
Did
you
put
don't
any
feel
of
it, and it's weird because it's like, I know I put the sugar in there, so I'm wondering if there is a difference, because if there is a difference, then I'm going to have to start buying more sugar from the organic store. Cane sugar is not something I touch. So every time I had cane sugar, it just wasn't good. Hell, I could be eating cane sugar now, and they just call it sugar. I don't know. I don't think I really know the difference between cane sugar and regular sugar.
It's just the label that says cane.
Yeah, something like that. I digress. It is Nick B in the morning. When we come back in about 15 minutes or so, it will be to talk to you about something kind of serious and something that I try to avoid, but I'm going to talk to you about this when we come back in about 15 minutes or so, right here on Nick B in the morning. are in here with you as we split the halfway point of the first hour.
Hi.
It is 31 minutes past the top of the hour. Good morning again to everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. If you want to learn more about us, www.nickbnation.com is where you can go. You can find all the other shows that I do, all the other podcasts, and all of that information. And everything we talk about on every show will be up under what we call show notes. Miraculously, I stayed here pretty late yesterday and got caught up on all the audio. So if you go to audio replay under shows and then Nick B Show, you'll be able to hear all of the shows that we've done since, I want to say, March, when I really started, archiving a whole lot better. I've got all of the archives. I just haven't put them all up. Because it's expensive to do stuff like that. But we've got them up, so if you want to listen to them, you can go and listen to it at any time. But at the same time, under every show note, you'll see at the bottom a little player where you'll be able to listen to that day's show. Now, I was saying in the last break about my diet. One of the things that we do on our diet is we fast. So I don't eat anything sugary, and I don't eat anything until a certain time. Like, I can drink water, so you're going to hear in my mouth, and you're going to hear me clearing my throat and a little bit more than usual.
Or sometimes you hear the swallowing.
Yeah, because I burned my throat a few years ago, and it's a real struggle to not have something coat it. And I'm hyper extending my throat now, which means I'm talking way more than the average person talks. Like, you can hear it in my voice even. Like, you can hear how deeper my voice is. Like, on my off days, my voice doesn't sound as deep as it does on the radio, which I don't have that deep of a voice to begin with, but it's definitely strained during the work week. And then on the weekend, it gets back to normal. Mondays, it's usually pretty strained.
Kind of wake it up.
Yeah, it gets pretty strained, though, because I do 2 shows before I even do this one. So, yeah. I do 2 podcasts before I do this one every day, Monday through Thursday. So it puts a strain on it. And I'm not complaining. I'm just letting you know that if you hear me swallowing every now and then, or even having to stop to take a drink of water, that is why. I don't drink my coffee until my fast ends, and my fast ends usually about 9 o'clock for me. So, and I don't think I can even have any of my mints until 9 o'clock. So it is a pain. But because my coffee has sugar in it, that's the one thing that I haven't been able to give up, is the coffee with the sugar. Speaking of coffee, if you want some good coffee, go to that'sfrank.com, put in keyword Nick B, and save 25% off of your order. Highly recommend the Mexican chocolate, especially if you're somebody that has a lot of throat issues, because it coats your throat very well.
And it's so good.
Go to, again, that'sfrank.com, keyword Nick B. Now, this is something that I typically don't do this. I typically don't do this kind of thing on this show, mostly because I don't want it to be a downer. But at the same time, every once in a while, I have to kind of get on a high horse and say something about something that is going on. And again, we try to stay away from political talk because it's not our cup of tea. It's not what we want to do. We don't want to depress you. We want to kind of give you lighthearted stories and upbeat stories and stuff like that. But at the same time, we're in a political season. And we're kind of in a really politically charged time in history, too. There's a lot of things that are going on in the world right now that a lot of people feel that they should be involved in and feel that they should be a part of it. And because we are streaming to social media, various social medias, they have actually put some restrictions on things that you can say in this regard. And that in itself is kind of alarming, that you can sit there and argue, oh, it's their platform. They can come up with the rules all they want. If you want to change it, do your own platform. There have been other people that have done platforms and they still get punished. The greatest example of that would be Parler. When Parler had its open source or free speech open platform, Apple and Google both removed them from the App Store because they would not censor speech. They refused to censor speech. So how can you sit there and argue to start your own thing when all of these big corporations that have made it a point for you to use them to be successful can still come in and censor you anyway. It's the same thing. I understand Facebook can tell me what I can and can't say. I have no problem with that. It's their platform. I'll abide by what they say. But at the same time, they shouldn't have the ability in at least the United States to be able to tell me that I can't talk about events that are happening in the world without getting a strike or possibly even getting banned. Same thing for YouTube. So I got to kind of tiptoe over this. But again, I don't like to be political, but there is a movement going on in this country that I feel I need to talk about. And I feel if we don't start addressing a lot of these things, we're going to end up on the bad side of history, like Russia, China, Cuba. I have been on TikTok a lot lately, trying to get my TikTok views and everything up. And every live I have seen while scrolling through has been communism is the way, free Palestine, or Christianity is wrong, and I'll tell you why. And then what's the other one that I typically see? How Jews shouldn't exist. I actually reported that one because there was a guy, it was a video. This guy was doing a video on TikTok, and he said, if you still support Israel or the Jewish people, then you should have your kids taken away from you. And you should watch them go through horrible things because you support them. I reported that because that's against TikTok's terms and conditions in terms of service. They told me it wasn't.
That's threatening, though.
It was. And it's bullying and harassing at the least. But they didn't do anything about it. In fact, the video is still up. And then all of these people that are talking about how communism is the way, communism has never worked anywhere. Never. It has failed everywhere. Number one, the only form of government that has lifted people up out of poverty, the only one, is capitalism. You can sit there and argue about all of the things that are wrong about capitalism, and I will have that argument with you every day. There's plenty that is wrong with capitalism. Like, for instance, I told you guys the other day when we were talking about layoffs, I think, and I said it was Pixar. Pixar is laying off like 14% of their staff. But all the people at the top that are taking the majority of the money are not getting laid off. They're laying off the people at the bottom. And I will never do that. I am a capitalist, though. Don't get me wrong. I am using a device that was created from capitalism. The multiple devices from capitalism. I would be a moron to sit here and speak out against capitalism while using devices that are the result of capitalism. And that's the thing that these youths don't understand. As they're sipping their Starbucks $10 cup of coffee, talking on their iPhone about how communism needs to come in so that we can have free healthcare, free education, and all this other stuff. It's like, what is wrong with you? You realize everything that you're crapping all over, you're also taking advantage of. That's what we call an imbecile. That's also kind of ironic and moronic that you don't see the irony in everything that you're speaking out about while wearing Gucci clothes and a $2,000 phone. And you're talking bad about capitalism. Capitalism is the only thing that has lifted people out of poverty. And again, it does have its flaws, crony capitalism and, fat cats at the top and all of that. And we can talk about how to fix it, but communism is not the way to go. And unfortunately, there are many youths in this country right now that want communism, mostly because they don't understand, one, and two, a lot of them are from other countries. And it's like, okay, why'd you leave that country? And it's like, oh, because everything was bad over there. Why was it bad? What country are you from? Cuba. Oh, why'd you leave? Oh, because they won't let me do this or they won't let me do that. Communism. Why'd you flee China? Oh, because they won't let me do this or they won't let me do that. Communism. You know, in China, you can't even walk down the street without thousands of cameras taking your picture and then judging you and basing how you can operate in their society on how good of a credit score, a social credit score they give you. If you jaywalk, they put your face up on the biggest screen that they have to make you feel bad, and they deny your banking privileges. You can't do that crap here. They want to, but right now you can't do that. You know why? Because we're free. We're only free because we're not communist. That's part one of what I want to talk about how all these idiot Utes are talking about that we need to change and we need to have universal health care. Here's a unpopular opinion that a lot of you Utes out there have probably never heard, but it needs to be said. Nobody is responsible for your health but you. If your health care charges are expensive, if you have some kind of medical disease, medical problem, medical issue, anything, it's on you to go out and fix that, not me. And you can sit there and say, oh, well, Christians believe this way, Christians believe that way. The number one thing Christians believe is if you don't work, you don't eat. I understand there are exceptions to this. Those that are born handicapped, those that cannot take care of themselves. Those are not the people I'm talking about. I'm talking about the people that have anxiety and can't get a job, and they expect me to not only pay for their room and board, but all of the medicines that they want to take. Or the other people that want to transition to spend $4,000 to $5,000 a week on medicine, and they want me to pay for that. That's not fair. My money goes to my kids for their health and for what they need, as well as my health and what I need. Robbing Peter to feed Paul is never the right way to go. And that's been the saying for decades. For hundreds of years, people have said that quote, and nobody really understands it. But part two to that is nobody on this world and nobody on this planet gives a damn about you. They don't care about what you're going through. They don't care that you have anxiety. It's either can you do the job or can you not? You find a way to do it. You don't make other people pay for it. That's not how this country was founded, and that's not what this country believes. Now, part two to this. I have never seen so much hate for one country in my entire existence. My damn near 50 years of life, I have never seen people hate on one tiny little democracy in the Middle East as much as I am seeing lately. And there is one empire to blame for all of it. It's the British Empire. They are the cause of all the world's modern problems because they named that area Syria Palestina because they didn't want to recognize its true name. Why? Because they were anti-Semitic. And you're falling into the same path when you start screaming, from the river to the sea, it shall be free. You know what that means? That means everybody in between the river and the sea, you're going to murder. You are championing their murder. We can talk politics about it at any point. But if you're sitting there screaming that people need to die so that another country can survive, or that people need to be raped so another country can survive, your argument is moot. You're a hateful SOB, and I'm not going to waste my time with you. It is Nick B in the morning. When we come back in about 15 minutes or so, we will get into the stories of the day and get away from this political talk. So stick around for that. It is Nick B in the morning. Welcome back into Nick B in the morning. You have myself, LB, and JR in here with you today.
Hi.
And LB's struggling. She's struggling to stay awake today, if you couldn't tell. So her leaning out of the camera is because she's yawning. So count how many times she does that. We need a ticker. We need
Or
to put a ticker up.
it could be because of the coffee and I'm burping or something.
We need to put a ticker up for how many times she goes
Or
out
hiccuping.
of the frame. If you want to learn more about us, www.nickbnation.com is where you can go and do that. Now, onward and upward to the more political or non-political stuff as we start hour number 2 right here on Nick B in the morning, again for May 28th, 2024.
This month feels like it's going so slow.
Well, it's this is what I was telling you. The 5 weeks. You get 5 Fridays in May. And the 5 Fridays months tend to feel like they never end. I think August is really our only other 5 Friday months. But the ones that have 5 Mondays, those are the ones that really suck because it feels like you've been working like
nonstop.
Yeah, too long. Like, damn it, it's Monday again. But 5 Fridays is like, woohoo, 5 weekends, right? I don't know. But yeah, that's what makes it seem like it's going slow. April is the one that seemed like it was going the slowest for me. And it was like, damn it, this is only a 30-day month. What the hell's going on? But it was because Easter was so early this year. Most people are still looking forward to Easter in April, even though technically it was supposed to be in May of this year. So, yeah. But anyway, Guy Fieri, I think is how you say his last name. The guy that's from Diners, Dives, and Dash. Diners, Divers, Dash, Dine, whatever it's called. You know the guy. He's got the streak in his hair. You know, the taking you to Flavor Town guy.
Yeah, we always called it Triple D.
Yeah. So, and he drives a classic, I think it's a Corvette or Camaro. I can't remember. I think it's a Camaro. He has lost a lot of weight, and he's gotten in shape. And the people that were interviewing him were talking to him, and they were like, so you were kind of in bad shape. And he said, I've never been unhealthy. What?
Bruh.
Yeah, like, dude, I've seen you scarf down all kinds of unhealthy stuff. You can't sit there and say that you're...
I've seen you eat massive burgers.
You're not unhealthy. But he did, and he did it with a straight face. And when the guy called him out on it, now he may have been... It may have been in jest. He may have been just joking around with the guy. But let me see if I can get this open, because the way he was phrasing it is the part that's funny to me. He argues that he's never been unhealthy while showing off his 30-pound weight loss. And again, all of this will be up under show notes after today's show. He has been known for 2 things throughout his career: his spiky hair and eating at some of the greatest spoons this country has to offer. Now he's pushing back against assumptions that he's unhealthy. The Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives host that's a tongue twister, who has shed 30 pounds over the past 4 years, opened up to Men's Health about the changes he's made in the past several years that led to his weight loss, and how he's always been healthy, how he's always been health conscious no matter what you think. To his critics, the mayor of Flavortown only had this to say: I don't want to say that you don't know what you're talking about, but you don't know what you're talking about. He also argued that it is not as much about changing what he eats as it is about being more conscious, saying, quote, I think moderation is a real thing. I still eat what I want to eat, but I just don't eat as much of it, he explained. He also shifted when he eats, saying that he was advised to skip breakfast and only eat between 12 and 8. Saying, quote, it wasn't as gnarly as you might think. I'm not a big breakfast fan anyway. He went on to say, I'll use pizza as an example because he said he had to rethink how he approaches food. He says, I'll use pizza as an example. Pizza is one of the things, when it's good, it's really good. And when it's bad, people still eat it. I'm now more inclined to not eat something that's not that great than to eat it. That's kind of how I am with like the bread and the cream pie that I was telling you about. Fans wondering how this all works with his work on Triple D, he explained that they usually film at 3 locations in a day rather than scarf down full meals at those restaurants. The restaurateur instead nibbles a few bites for the cameras and then skips dinner that night. It wasn't just dietary for him, though. Also, he hired a professional trainer during COVID to take him through high-intensity interval trainings. He quickly learned that when it comes to exercise or his new daily popular plunges, his daily polar plunges, it's all about getting started. Those first few moments are the hardest. The polar plunge is something that's caught on with everybody. Like, everybody is doing that. And the polar plunge was basically started and kind of, I want to say, maybe popularized by one of two people that I can think of off the top of my head. It was either Joe Rogan that did it first or Bert Kreischer. Because as I started following Bert Kreischer many, many, many years ago, he started, like, you know those old like metal tubs that you can get that are the old, they look like antiques. He got one of those and
Just
was sitting
like
in
a
the
horse trough.
yeah, exactly. Thank you. It's the horse troughs. He was sitting in those, and he would have his girls pour ice all over him, and then they would pour the water in, and that was his polar plunge. And then Joe Rogan, whose podcast got successful and he got a little bit of money, he actually bought a like outdoor tub that was built entirely to be a polar plunge. And what it is like you hear the people that do the polar plunge every year where they jump into like 30-degree weather or 30-degree water. Well, it's below 30 degrees because the belief is if you get your core temperature down and then you go into like a sauna, that it helps you jumpstart your metabolism and it really helps you burn fat. And Bert Kreischer swears by it. So does Joe Rogan, and apparently now so does Guy Fieri, because that's what he started doing. And it shows a picture in the article of him coming out of a steam room like Bert Kreischer has at his house. Bert went from living in his home that he had lived in for decades, which was not a shabby home by the least, but it was the one where his girls grew up and everything. And then he started getting somewhat more successful, and he started building a home or remodeling one. I think he remodeled one. But the one that he was at the longest time that he was in California, he kind of had to makeshift things. So like his sauna was like a tarp that he put over something, and they made it into a watertight thing so that he could take a hot sauna. Now at the new house that he's moved into, he's got a legit like cabin looking thing outside that he says he spent way too much money on. I think he has 2 of them outside, and then he's got 2 of the polar plunges things. The thing that I don't like about Bert, he's way too comfortable being naked, like way too comfortable. And as a father, all I can sit there and think is, dude, where are your daughters? One of them's in college now, but it used to be, what if your daughters come out? He's getting naked and walking into his pool after he does the sauna. Like, he'll go into the polar plunge naked, then he goes into his sauna naked, and then he gets into the pool naked. And there's sometimes when he actually takes a shower in his pool because he doesn't have enough time. And it's like, dude, what if your kids walk by while you're doing that? And then your kids aren't supposed to see her. It's not like I was like, hey, look at this.
I got something I want to show you.
Yeah, it's like, I guess that's just something that they're, I don't want to say it's normal, but I guess that's something that they're just used to. Oh, look, Dad's naked in the pool again. Don't look. But yeah, apparently Guy Fieri has never been unhealthy, and he wants us to know that, even though he was, again, like, I want to say 120 pounds heavier than he is now. They put a picture up of unhealthy him versus healthy him, and it's like, yeah, healthy him is healthy. Unhealthy him clearly was not healthy, and clearly was enjoying all of the food from Divers, drive-ins, and dash, whatever it's called. That's a tongue twister.
The food thing.
Triple D, yeah, the mayor of Flavortown. He has been so, like, I don't know, stuck in the 70s. Like, he said it's not as gnarly as you'd think. I'm like, this is a grown-ass man saying this. True, I know there's a lot of words that come out of my mouth that I shouldn't say, but he's, like, pushing 60. I'm not. So it's still somewhat acceptable for me to say some of the words like that's
I'm
lit.
younger.
Yeah, that's lit. If I say that's lit, y'all call me out on that. I'm not fire, maybe lit. Not doing it because the only thing lit is a fire. So there's that. So yeah, but
I just stick to cool.
yeah, and I use dude a lot. Dude, I say that a lot.
Yeah.
I know I do. But my go-to word cannot be uttered on this show because we're not allowed to say those words. I realize I say that a lot. Like y'all talked about the joke, right? After I played it with Burning Mac about how he says if you pass by him, you may hear this word drop 35 times or something like that in a minute. I realized that's entirely accurate. Like I use that word a lot. And growing up, my friends, the way he was talking to them, that's how my friends talked. So, and that's how I talked to them. And, we would say, for lack of a better term, friends would say GD it a lot. And I know there's a lot of people out there that think that word means something that it doesn't mean, but I don't have time to get into, it doesn't mean what you think it means. But, so my friends would drop GD it, and my rebuttal to that was got damn. Like I got it instead of God. I would say God damn, but because it sounds just like it. And you can get away with that on FCC radio stations. But anyway, Burning Mac tells the story about how if you pass by a group of people, you're going to hear a group of brothers, you're going to hear them saying MF probably about 35 MF times. And then he goes through it. And as he's saying that joke, I'm sitting there going, this is every conversation I've ever had with my friends. And we did that because, again,
we actually sound like that?
But
Aaron.
Yeah. Screw you. Aaron, iron, an iron urn. If y'all haven't seen that video, y'all need to look it up. I think it's, where were they from? I think it's St. Louis. St. Louis people pronounce.
Baltimore.
Oh, Baltimore. That's what it is. It was Baltimore people saying urn. Just look it up.
Earn, iron, earn.
Yeah. And they all go, earn, earn. And they're all, yeah.
But this one guy's like, wait a minute.
Yeah. One guy stops and goes, Aaron earned an iron urn. So, yeah.
But the way,
Yeah.
but the way he opens his mouth, he goes,
Yeah.
Aaron.
That's, again, it's just where you grow up and what you're around. And you get lazy with the way that you talk, but I don't think I know anybody that still says gnarly. Like, to the degree that he
Sometimes
does.
I'll say it, but it's not like all the time.
Well, I'll say, like, if I'm trying to censor myself and still be the good dad and not use cuss words, I'll say gnarly, like it's a gnarly cut, or I got a gnarly cut on my head or something like that.
Or a gnarly bruise.
Instead of saying,
yeah,
I just
but we're not gonna
myself
say
up
it
pretty bad.
Yeah, we're not going to say it 37 times.
Yeah, no.
We'll say the other one.
Yeah, and I say that a lot. Like, my pen rolls off the desk, and it's mother. I stub my toe, mother. If something goes, and then people pulling out in front, that's the worst. People driving. I'm like, you mother.
Especially with the whole fat is beautiful and hit the finger.
Yeah, that one was. Well, that was just F. I don't think I said mother in that one. I just said F it. And we almost said that, by we, I mean me. I almost said that on the FM dial. But JR was quick to cut off my mic. It is Nick B in the morning. When we come back in about 15 minutes or so, we're going to give you kind of an update on a Diddy story. So stick around for that. It is Nick B in the morning. Welcome back into Nick B in the morning. You've got myself, LB, and JR in here with you today. And if you want to learn more about us, www.nickbnation.com is where you can go as we start the halfway point of the second hour. That is 30 minutes past the top of the second hour of the show. And again, if you want to learn more about us, www.nickbnation.com. And just a reminder, 19 days until Father's Day, 37 days until the 4th of July, 97 days until Labor Day, 156 days until Halloween, 184 days until Thanksgiving, and 211 days until Christmas. That 184 is the one that gets me. Well, first of all, in 19 days, I got to pretend like I like my family again, too. And then in 184 days, I really got to pretend like I like them because they're all going to be around me. And it's like, and I've been talking a lot of stuff this year, so it's going to be an interesting Thanksgiving. I'm an agent of chaos. I live for it, okay? And I'm a provocateur. That is what I do. That is what I have always done, and especially in my radio career. So
I'll just be like that lady in Kevin Hart's story. Pow! Pow!
So, but we told you in the last segment that I was going to give you a little bit of an update on the Diddy story. Diddy has now 6 accusers that have accused him of sexual assault or some kind of sexual impropriety, if I could speak. And then
That's a word.
they are accusing him of some god-awful things. Sean John is a company that Diddy, I believe, still owns. I don't think he has stepped down from that one yet. And Sean John sells glasses. They sell frames. These are not Sean John. I don't know who they are, but they're not Sean John. And America's Best is one of their largest suppliers. Well, they announced that they were no longer going to carry the Sean John lenses. So people are distancing themselves from anything Diddy because it ain't looking good. And I even told you that the guy from ESPN was talking about how his career is over too. And I know his name is Steven. I just can never remember his last name. But it turns out one company or one organization is sticking with him. And it happens to be the people that are in charge of the Hollywood Walk of Fame. These same people wanted to remove Donald Trump's Hollywood Walk of Fame. Just remember that. After he became president, he wasn't even accused of anything. And they were already talking about removing his Walk of Fame. They didn't. And that's probably why they're applying the same kind of judgment to Diddy that they're going to apply to Trump. It says calls to remove Diddy's Hollywood Walk of Fame star are gaining traction amid his downfall, but the team behind the honor has made no such move. A Hollywood Chamber of Commerce spokesperson tells us that they have not decided and the organization is powerless to make the star disappear. The chamber says while it has the authority to nominate star recipients, manufacture and install stars upon city approval and conduct the Walk of Fame installation ceremony, it lacks authority to remove them. So even with 7 civil lawsuits alleged that are alleging sexual assault and other misdeeds, along with a federal criminal investigation, the star isn't going anywhere. There have been calls in the past to yank the stars of other celebrities like Bill Cosby, Donald Trump. Donald Trump's was repeatedly vandalized but never removed. Diddy has vehemently denied the allegations, previously maintaining his accusers were motivated by the almighty dollar, but the denial was blown to smithereens after the Cassie video surfaced. So they claim that they don't have the power to remove it, but they're the ones that construct it, they're the ones that hold the ceremony, and they're the ones that put it in. So I think they're the ones. But a lot of people don't understand how the Hollywood Walk of Fame works. The person that has the star, they have to pay for that for the rest of their life. They have an annual fee that they have to pay, which is supposed to go towards the cleaning and maintaining of it. And their fan club, their official fan club or something to that degree, has to nominate them, and then they have to get the people that are actually in charge of the Hollywood Walk of Fame to agree, yes, this person deserves to be nominated, and we'll give them a star. And then they start talking about real estate. Real estate is the most important thing. But during the whole Trump star debacle thing that was going on, one of my used-to-be favorite comedians, George Lopez, pretended to pee on the Donald Trump star. He had one of those, the little water bottles. I
Mhm.
found it funny that he chose one of the little ones. But he stood there and pretended to pee by using that little water bottle. And again, that's a bit much. Like, that's not even funny. That's just stupid. And you can argue against his politics all day long, but that was just childish, and it didn't accomplish anything. And
Come on, son.
yeah, I mean, again, we used to know better in this country. Like, there were things that you legit protested, and there were things that were legit wrong, and then there was just whining. And when are we going to start looking at a lot of these complaints as people just whining about stuff that doesn't matter? Like, again, even this story, to a degree, people talking about his Hollywood Walk of Fame star, remove, who cares? Focus on the assaults first. Focus on convictions first. Again, he's alleged to have done these things. He hasn't been convicted of anything, but it ain't looking good. When somebody hits you with 7 lawsuits, and again, he was claiming that everybody was only after him for money and that he was going to fight it, and then the Cassie video dropped. Well, if you listened to the show yesterday, or even in the ER with Nick B., there are speculations as to who dropped the tape. That is the one question that I have had. From the legal perspective of things, I'm like, who had the tape? Because it was rumored that Diddy bought it. Diddy certainly didn't release it, because all it does is make all of his accusers look legitimate. So who released it? There's only 2 possibilities, but now only one of them is the one that I believe makes the most sense, and that's Cassie had it released. Whether she talked with the feds before the raid and was like, hey, if y'all get this tape, put it out, I don't know. But the only other option is the feds released it. The only reason the feds would release it would be to tank their case. And the feds aren't really going to do that, I don't believe. But we'll have to wait and see, because, again, he hasn't been charged with anything, although Diddy has been telling friends and family around him that expect charges any day. So they know it's coming. And again, the legal process, when you're that big of a person, the FBI or the Department of Justice, whoever it may be, tends to reach out to your lawyers to say, hey, we're going to do this. It's not like they just bum rush you while you're out getting Starbucks or something. That very rarely happens to influential people and people that have a certain caliber of money. And Diddy is one of those people. So you're not going to see him getting arrested at, like I said, Starbucks. You're going to see him turn himself in with his lawyers, walking into the courthouse or something like that. We've seen it too many times. Then again, they could surprise us and do an OJ thing where they show up to his house and gotcha, bitch, and then take him to jail. So I don't know, but I think it's a shame. This entire thing is a shame. I am not ever going to celebrate anybody's downfall, ever. Especially somebody that's a father and that has kids. However, if they are as horrible as they say they are, I hope that everything he did to his victims is done to him every day in prison or on the street somehow or some way, because that's the way that I roll, and that's the way that I believe. And there's rumors too. I don't know if you guys pay attention to this like I do, because, again, I'm all about the chisme. Speaking of which, I have a new podcast coming out soon called Chisme with Nick B. But the rumors on the street are there's this woman. Her name is Jaguar Wright. Jaguar Wright seems to have the inside scoop on everything. Like, she's been in hip-hop. She's part of hip-hop history. She knows a lot of people. And she's been around Diddy, and she's been speaking out about Diddy before any of this even dropped. She talked about how he was mean to Cassie before we had any proof. So she knows a little bit about what she's talking about. And she points out, there's one person that's quiet in all this. Jay-Z. We ain't heard nothing from Jay-Z. A lot of the rappers and a lot of the other people that have had some kind of interaction with Diddy have come out to give their statement.
Dude turned into a ghost.
Jay-Z is gone. Nobody has heard anything from him. And the thing that's odd about that, his wife Beyonce just dropped a new album not too long ago. Remember the whole right? Remember that one? She's not promoting it. She's not promoting it. She's not touring. She should be touring right now in the States anyway. So, where's Jay-Z? How come Jay-Z's quiet? Or is Jay-Z cooperating to save his own skin? I'm just saying. According to Jaguar Wright, this is so much deeper than just Diddy. So it'll be interesting to see all the stuff that comes out from the case if we ever get a case. More than likely, he's going to try and settle all of the civil charges, and then the federal charges are the ones that we're going to have to wait for to see if they actually convict him of anything. But it's crazy. And again, I don't think you should be like, who's next? Like, okay, we got Diddy. Who's next? Because that sets a dangerous precedent. I'm all about precedent because eventually it could be you. And I'm not saying anybody's innocent or anybody's guilty. I'm saying you could be innocent of whatever they're charging you with. And let's just say for argument's sake that Diddy is innocent. Now, obviously, we know he beat the hell out of Cassie and he's no longer innocent in that regard. But what if all this other stuff really was initially a money grab? And then somewhere the feds got involved, and now the feds made such a public display of going to arrest him. What if, after you champion all of this, that it's found in a court of law that he didn't do anything wrong, that he didn't do anything illegal? I will say there are certain things that I'm not saying he's guilty and I'm not saying he's innocent. But when your lawyers start giving the argument that the statute of limitations is up on this, you can't prosecute us for this, I think that's pretty telling. Like, their argument is not he didn't do it. Their argument is you can't charge him for it because statute of limitations is run out, or some other statute that they're trying to arrest him on wasn't valid when it happened. And it's like, really? That's your only argument? I digress.
Kind of sus.
Yeah, so, and again, it's sad. The entire situation and everything about it is sad, and hopefully, it'll be resolved before too long, and we'll know for certain if A, he's guilty of anything, and then B, to the level that he's guilty of. So, we'll see. It is Nick B in the morning. When we come back in about 18 minutes or so, it will be to give you our question of the day. So stick around for that. It is Nick B in the morning. Welcome back into Nick B in the morning. If you got something that you want to tell us, you can go to www.nickbnation.com. You got myself, LB, and JR in here with you as we start hour number 3. It is the top of the hour. Actually, it is coming up on 3 minutes past the top of the hour. And if there's anything, again, you ever want to tell us, www.nickbnation.com is where you go. Today's question of the day is a bit of a thinker.
Cactus.
And you need to kind of listen to the wording of it. And it says, what is something that you value over all other things that people think is crazy? So obviously valuing the love of your family, there may be a few people out there that think that's crazy, especially if they've met your family. But, that's not
So
really...
we'll exclude that one.
Yeah, that's not really what the intent behind this question is. At least I don't think so. I think it is like something that just, and I understand that without your family you die too, but I think that's pretty much implied. Most people know that you're going to value
So
your
a
loved ones.
thing, not a person.
Yeah, like, well, it doesn't necessarily, well, I don't think it is a thing, but it's what is something, yeah, so something that you value over other things that people think is crazy. For me, it's honesty, like being true to who you are and what you say. I can't tell you how many times in my life I have heard, don't say that, you'll upset somebody. Oh, don't say that, you'll make waves. Don't say that. No, I want somebody to be that way. Like, I have more respect for somebody when they speak their mind and they don't give any F's about who is hurt by it. Because again, at the end of the day, I'm not responsible for how you feel. I can't control that. This is why certain things are a huge danger to this country, and one of them is talking about hate speech, because who defines what is hateful? It'll never end. Your definition of hate and my definition of hate are two different things. What offends you is not going to offend me. So, and again, I value honesty and people that can stand on their feet and be who they are without any kind of regrets. So, and no looking back. And that is something that people have told me my whole life is crazy. It's crazy to be that way. I've only had one man in my entire life when I told him, hey man, I'm always going to be me. And he was like, you know what? You are always going to be you. And that's refreshing. And it was somebody that I didn't even really have a huge friendship with. I came to be friends with him. And then, he ended up leaving the job where I met him at. And then I don't really talk to him that much. I mean, he's on Facebook, but I don't talk to him that much. He's not that active on Facebook either. He's got, family and all that kind of stuff. But he's the only one out of my damn near 50 years of living that was like, that is refreshing to know that you're always going to be you no matter what. And I'm like, hey, thanks. Finally, somebody. You got anything you value that much, LB?
Well, damn, you went really deep with yours. So I was just going to say something like my backpacks, because I got a little bit of my personality in them.
Okay, but do people think you're crazy for valuing those?
If they walked into my room and saw like 1,000,000 of mine, yeah.
Well, I don't know if people would think that was crazy, though. Like, that's just because, again, and I don't mean this in any disregarding way. I'm not singling anybody out, but, it's the same thing if you had a collection of purses. That's just something women do. They collect purses. They collect shoes because you never know how you're going to feel and how some guys collect purses and shoes. So, I mean, I collect shoes, and again, some shoes I will never wear. I wore them once, and they killed my feet, and it was like, I ain't doing this again. And I got like 3 more pairs of them things. So it's like, So, but I collect a lot of things that I value, like cigars. I just don't hold on to them very often.
Well, the fact
very long.
The fact that you put in, what do you value that people think is crazy? I got a long list.
Yeah.
That, and it's like,
I think,
which ones do I want them to know? Which one do I not want them to know?
and again, I'm not trying to put words into the mouth of the person that wrote into us for this, but
We're trying to dissect it.
I think more than anything, they meant like maybe personality. Like what repels you in somebody's personality that you wish they were different. Is what I'm thinking they meant. Because again, if it repels you, then you have the opposite of valuing it. Like again, I value honesty and I value, people. Again, I'll give you a great example. Cher, and you can hear more about this on In the ER with Nick B. The podcast drops at 10 a.m. Central today. Get it wherever podcasts are found. But the Cher said she would never go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. She said, I'm never going to go. Even if they offer me $1 million, they can go, what themselves, because she was on a talk show. That's almost a direct quote from her. She is the only artist to have a #1 in 7 decades for 70 years. She's only 77. She's been doing this for 70 years at this point. She said that she changed music with her song Believe. I don't know what she really means by that, but she says she changed the entire industry. And the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame hasn't given her a nod. Well, now she's going to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and she said she'd be at the ceremony. She originally said she would never go to the ceremony and that they could go F themselves. And now she's like, I'm going to go there. I hate that. I hate it. If somebody says, yeah, sure, you can buy my radio station, and then they take it away, you're a dick. There's no other way to say it, especially after I've put all the work and money into taking over the radio station, and then you just take it away from me. There's nothing you can say that makes that good because you were not a person of your word. You didn't stand by what you said. Regardless of the reasoning, you're a punk. And I hold no value towards you anymore, and I will be petty as hell and destroy you for the rest of my life. That's what I think is along the lines of what they're talking about. Like, again, mine is somebody that's upstanding, and I think it's because they heard us talking about this the other day on the show when I was talking about how nobody's real anymore. Being real is what gets you canceled nowadays. I'm uncancelable. You can't cancel me because, again, some way, somehow, I will find a way to do this. I'm going to be here whether you like it or not.
You've proven it several times.
And this time I own everything. So there's no asshat that's going to be able to change the locks on me while my crew is getting ready to come in and do the show for them. So anyway, I digress.
I guess it would be to be fun. I want them to be fun.
Yeah, not a stick in the mud.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because the hoe that showed up was kind of a stick in the mud.
Yeah.
And I think that's what really turned us.
Childish.
That's what turned us off with her to begin with, and then she just got worse from there. JR, you're awfully quiet. Anything over there?
No.
I whistled.
He doesn't value anything, ladies. Do you hear that? He values nothing.
Well, I mean, he gave us a couple of examples
did, but-
off the break. Off camera. But
I mean, I guess trust.
That's a good one.
Like someone you could count on for your ride or die.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
Mhm.
That's a good one. I've lived longer than you. People are going to let you down. I mean, it's just what's going to happen.
they're
It's
human.
people. Yeah. So trust is something I value, but it's not something that people would think I was crazy overvaluing it. But some people may think that is crazy because of what I just said. Like people are going to let you down. They're going to disappoint you. They're not going to be trustworthy throughout your life. There's going to be several people that aren't trustworthy. So this was a tough one, though. This one's a little bit of a head scratcher and a little bit of a and it should have been a little bit more defined. So if you write into us, be as descriptive as possible.
We're like genies. If you want to make a wish, you got to be extremely detailed.
Yeah, because again, we're going everywhere with this. Like originally it was like, what is something that you value over all other things? And it was like, my cigars. And it's like, no, I don't think it means that. I think it means something that you can't live without. And people think it's crazy because you can't live without it. And I'm still like, my cigars. So it's like, it's just one of those
Narrow
things.
it down.
Yeah. And, but at the same time, me standing on my feet and me being who I am and who I've been for my whole life, I think the one thing that I could say that people have always thought is crazy, like, again, I've told you guys on this show numerous times, if the cops pull you over, shut the hell up.
Freedom.
I have been that way since day damn one. I'm not helping you with no investigation. I'm only required by law to answer 2 questions, possibly 3. If I'm behind the wheel of a vehicle, yes, I have to provide you my license. Other than that, I ain't got to give you crap. Just saying. those are in freedom, like LB said. Those are the things that oof. You won't talk about me going up against authority. I have done that since I was like 3 years old. I remember getting kicked out of K3 over it because one of the teachers was telling me I needed to go up and write a word on the board. Yes, at 3, because I went to a Nazi kind of a school where they were making us write at early ages. That's why my handwriting is crap now, because I started rebelling and didn't want to write. I digress. So she told me to go up and put the letter, I think it was the letter C, up on the board. And I said, I don't want to do that. And she said, but you have to, because I told you to. And I'm like, who are you? And she said, I'm the teacher. And you're supposed to be teaching me. You get up there and write it so I see how you write it. Because the way I write it may be different from the way you write it. Go to the principal's office. Okay. I went to the principal's office at 3, people. You're talking 50 years later. Just saying.
I mean,
And that's coursing through me. So when somebody tells me to go get their drinks, it's like,
Well, that's different.
I know, that's why I bite my tongue.
that is very different.
Yeah, and at my job, just as in with this one, like the asshat that changed the locks on us, I could work with him again. I wouldn't want to. It's not going to be my first choice. But again, it's the job. If he somehow weasels his way back in, or we end up crossing paths because of the jobs that we do, then it's not going to be like, hey, you mother. It ain't going to be like that. It's going to be like, no, it's a job. You stay on your end and I'll stay on mine. I will respect you to that degree, and that is it.
Yeah, I only adult when I go to a different job.
Yeah, that adulting is the thing that really sucks, especially since
Really?
you're my kid.
Yeah.
And you've been raised.
Really?
You've been raised around the guy that's like, don't let anybody tell you
37
nothing."
times.
So
37 times.
It is Nick B in the morning. When we come back in about 15 minutes or so, we're going to go over some McDonald's news. So stick around for that. This one's kind of interesting. So you may want to stick around for that. Again, that's in about 15 minutes or so, around the 30-ish hour part of the hour. I don't know. It is Nick B in the morning, and we'll be back in about 15 minutes. So stick around for that. Welcome back into Nick B in the morning. You've got myself, LB, and JR in here with you today, as LB apparently tries to snort the microphone for some reason. If you got anything
Just
that you want to
letting them
tell
know
us,
they're awake.
you can go to www.nickbnation.com to do it. And again, everything we talk about on today's show is always under show notes when you go to the website. Give me a couple of hours after the show to get everything up on the website, but it's all mostly there before the show is over. It's just the audio of the show I have to condense and get ready and upload and then sync it and all this other stuff. So that's what takes me a little while, and sometimes I forget. So just give me a couple of hours, and everything should be up under the website. It'll be the first thing you see when you go to nickbnation.com. As we we are at the halfway point of the third hour of the show. It is 30 minutes past the top of the hour, coming up on 31 minutes past the top of the hour now. And I was telling y'all in the last break, right? Like, a lot of people are noticing that food costs are through the roof. Well, a lot of us that are actually the ones that are the primary financial people that have to buy food.
I wonder why.
Those little kids, they don't realize that, things are costing more money than they used to.
I'm
but-
fasting.
But the
I'm not a part of the problem. JR on the other end.
one of the things that people are starting to notice
I'm
is
kidding.
they're looking at how badly things have changed. Just to put it into perspective, McDonald's, some of their items are up as much as 200% over what you used to pay for them. And some of these numbers I vaguely remember. And it's like, wow. Like they just snuck that in on us, like slowly but surely. And there's several reasons for why the prices are going up, but one of their major reasons is because there's cities that have these BS $20 an hour minimum wage laws, and McDonald's is having to compensate. So just like everybody said, those states and cities that put in $20 minimum wage is going to be passed down to the consumer. What's that going to eventually do? People are going to quit buying it. What's that going to do to the economy? It's going to wreck it because more and more businesses are going to go out of business. Paying somebody $20 an hour as a base, and again, I know it's needed, but we're not focusing on the right thing. I would rather focus on change the freaking tax code. Make it the same across the board for everybody. And do it based on their income level. If you make $60,000 or less a year, no taxes for you. No taxes. If you make $60,000 and above, you get a flat rate tax. And you make it to where states can't change the taxes. Get rid of income tax. Just get rid of it in state terms. Florida got rid of it. They're fine. A lot of states have gotten rid of income tax. State income tax, that is. Make sure all states get rid of state income tax, and you only have the federal income tax. We are overtaxed. We are taxed to death in this country right now. Mm-hmm. And that's the reason, that's what people need to be focusing on. They don't need to be focusing on the damn minimum wage, because all that's going to do is put you in a higher tax bracket, which takes more money out of your pocket anyway. I digress. Mm-hmm. But McDonald's customers are experiencing sticker shock as menu prices have nearly tripled over the past decade, with the cost of some items increasing by nearly 200%. A recent graphic by Carbon Finance highlights the dramatic surge in McDonald's prices over the past decade, showing a 168% increase in the cost of a McDouble. Based on a recent Finance Buzz study, the average price of a McDouble has jumped from $1.19 in 2014 to $3.19 today.
Phew.
Yeah, so we were paying $1.20 basically for a McDouble, which is a double cheeseburger at McDonald's, and today you're paying $3.20. That's ungodly. Similar, the McChicken sandwich now costs around $3, reflecting a 199% increase since 2014. why McDonald's prices are rising. Several factors are contributing to these price hikes, including increased food costs, labor costs, supply chain disruptions, and rising operation expenses. The increased food cost, the cost of ingredients has surged due to climate change? No. Higher transportation costs, yes, and supply chain disruptions. For instance, beef prices have risen significantly, increasing the cost of burgers and other meat-based items. Intentionally, they have raised the price of beef so people quit eating it because they attribute beef and cows to being the problem with climate change.
It's getting too hot. It's burning our dollars.
Because the cows are farting. Labor costs. Wages in the fast food industry have increased due to minimum wage hikes and worker compensation and worker competition. These increases are particularly notable in states like California, where the minimum wage is set to reach $20 an hour. That's insane. Operational expenses, rising utilities, rent, and maintenance costs, along with investments in technology and infrastructure, have also contributed to higher pricing. Now, I kind of went on a rant. What was it? I think it was the last segment. It may have been a few segments ago about capitalism. That there's things with capitalism that we can change. We can have that talk. The fat cats at the top are the ones that are giving you the bad idea of capitalism. For instance, a lot of these prices are changing and rising at McDonald's because the people at the top aren't willing to take a pay cut. Now, here's the flip side to that. I can give the argument on both sides. As somebody that puts up all of his money, all of his personal items, everything he owns to start a business, I'm the one that should reap the biggest reward out of it. Now, at the same time, I'm also a good-hearted individual. And if I see the companies getting in trouble, regardless of what I've put into it, I'm not going to be like the fat cats on the top. I never have been.
Regardless.
That has caused me all kinds of issues throughout my professional career. But that's one of the things I value that I won't change. I stand on that and will help the people that are helping make my life better. Yes, I put everything up, but the people that are doing the work also deserve to get a little bit of it. Now, I'm not going to be like the guy that, discounted his pay and started paying everybody $70,000 a year and then was out of business within 3 years. That's not going to be me. But I am going to take care of the people that are working for me. I'm going to make sure they know they have a job and that they're getting paid and compensated accurately. But to a degree, when the first bit of profit or money comes in, it's a reward for those that put up the money to get the company started or put everything that they had on the line for this dream of starting this company. Now, McDonald's is many, 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 many decades past that and have nothing but shareholders. That is the problem that you experience with a lot of things because they're not willing to take the cut. Like we talked about the Pixar people. They don't want to take the cut because they have investors. There's investors, and the investors believe they're the only ones that can turn this company around to keep putting money in my pocket. The investors are the ones you have the problem with. They're not the ones that own the company or start the company. It's ones that are ran by a corporate board. Those typically are the ones that raise costs and raise prices on everything. And then those are the ones that want to eliminate workers and get to a point where everything's automated because all they want to do is save costs, and they'll do the numbers and they'll be like, oh, we could cut costs if we just didn't have any people. And then the next thing you know, I'm beating a screen because I'm trying to order a freaking Big Mac on their touch screen devices that don't work.
Beating a screen.
Yeah, because those stupid kids have been running around banging on the screen all day. That's just, no, that's not the future I want. I want to be like the lady that said, who made this burger? Who made this GD burger? Who made it? You did excellent. I love this burger. This is the greatest burger I ever. I want to be that guy. I am that guy. So I don't want the non-personal relationship. And the issue is, again, the people at the top of these companies are like, we got to cut money somewhere. How about we get rid of your $50 million a year salary when the company's not doing good? Oh, no, we can't do that. Let's fire Todd that makes $20,000 a year and feeds his family of 5 off of that. That's not right. That's the issue people have with when it comes to capitalism. And again, we can change that because, again, and we can talk about that. Again, the people that put up the biggest risk for the company are the ones that deserve the biggest reward. You see that in a lot of companies like Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos is a prime example. Amazon was not a profitable company for like 20 years. Only in the last 10 or 15 years has it been a profitable company to where he can enjoy the investments recouping themselves to him and becoming one of the richest men in the world. Now, Amazon is pretty much run by a board of directors, and they keep and continually hike prices. But when Bezos was there, and when Bezos was over the day-to-day activities and his family was the only investors, it was a good company. Now it's kind of become a behemoth that a lot of people think they can't live without, and that's never the case. So, but 200% to raise costs up to 200% across the board on things, that's insane. I can only imagine, and given the excuse that it's climate change,
That is a bunch of horse manure.
the climate change thing, is the climate changing? Yes. Has the climate always changed? Yes. In fact, there's been several new studies that have come out that have said that the entire CO2 argument that people make, we're not contributing to that. The gasoline cars aren't contributing to that. These are studies. This is not me saying it. These are real legit studies. Google, if you flag me, I swear on all that's holy, I will make sure nobody uses YouTube again. I am not giving a opinion. It's not my opinion. This has been settled fact, settled science from Geneva, of all places, that put out this article. I'll have to find it and put it up on the website, where they said the CO2 is not what they originally thought it was. And then you have other companies that are creating these giant vacuums. Remember we talked about that not too long ago, where they're sucking out the CO2s. So if really the environment was the problem, how is it still the problem if we've made all these changes? The Paris Accord and all of these other things that are supposed to combat climate change. They want to blame cows, and they want to sit there and say that cows are the reason that we have the problems, and then they don't actually address what may actually be the problem, which is, corporations and things not being held accountable for what they're doing. And I'll agree, McDonald's houses more cows than anybody. And they're in miserable conditions. I don't think you've ever seen the video, the drone footage that somebody took of the McDonald's cow farm, but it's horrible. There is no grass whatsoever because there is that many cows. Because when you're a company that serves 6 to 7 billion hamburgers or more a year, 60 billion, I think, when you're serving multiple billions of burgers, then, you're constantly having to have the cows. So they cram them in there, and it's ungodly conditions. And again, this is something that we can talk about changing. It didn't used to be that way. The reason it got to be that way is because a lot of people started eating McDonald's because they couldn't afford to eat anywhere else. So when McDonald's is raising prices, when Dollar Tree is raising prices, it's not even $1 at Dollar Tree anymore. Dollar Tree was founded in the 40s. And for 60 some odd years, 60, 70 years, they were able to keep everything $1. They didn't even last 4 years under the Biden administration. I'm just saying.
Boy, did he change it.
A dog is a dog, and I'm going to call it a dog. And doggone it, Biden has things up pretty bad. And again, Dollar Tree is my biggest example. There's a viral thing going around that you can only find from Dollar Tree, and it's it's some kind of hand sanitizer. Didn't know about it until TikTok educated me on it. I was like, wow.
Who'd have thought?
People are
TikTok.
literally going to Dollar Tree and fighting over this sanitizer. I'm like, are you kidding me?
It's
some
like Popeye's
cutesy.
chicken again.
It's a cutesy little sanitizer thing, and it's like, really? This is what you want? And again,
Priorities, mate.
they're looking for it, and they're hurting people to get it. But guess what? It ain't $1 because Dollar Tree's not even Dollar Tree anymore. It's price it to $1.70. Some things on there are like $4 now. It's like, what do you even exist then?
It's now Dollar's Tree.
It is Nick B in the morning.
Bruh.
When we come back in about 15 minutes, it'll be to start the fourth and final hour of the show, so stick around for that. It is Nick B in the morning. Welcome back into Nick B in the morning. You have myself, LB, and JR in here with you as we start the fourth and final hour of the show, which means
It's the final countdown!
if you got anything that you want to tell us, www.nickbnation.com is where you can go and do that. You can tell us anything. You can tell us off. You can tell us about your day. You can ask us questions. You can do whatever it is that you want to do up at nickbnation.com.
Cactus.
So go there to do that. You can also find previous shows, podcasts, and all kinds of stuff. And again, everything we talk about on today's show will be up at nickbnation.com under show notes just as soon as we are done. There is something that is attacking my foot. I don't know what it is, but it will not stop freaking itching, and I can't get it to stop. It's like, yeah, it's live radio. That's what you get.
Well, I mean, if you got an itch, you got an itch.
Yeah, and yeah, I'm too OCD. Like this stuff will drive me crazy. I try to ignore it.
That itch.
And I ignore it as much as I can, and then there's just a little voice like, itch me, and then I hear my wife going, don't itch it. It's a cortisol reaction. Don't itch it. Too late. My foot's going to be like, when I get home because I just scratched the hell out of it. Now, if you've never listened to our show, this is the portion of the show where we go through all of the segments
Yeah, I'm being attacked
that
in my throat.
we haven't gone through. Your throat?
Yeah,
You
so
trying to
make me
choke?
cough.
Yeah, what's cough? I can turn your mic
No.
off for you if you want. I cough into the mic all the time. Ask her. So
Yeah, it wakes you up.
we go over the songs that are the songs. We go over the stories that we haven't had a chance to get into. And today we have 1, 2, 3, 4. One of them I really wanted to get into. I might save that one for tomorrow. So I'm going to have to edit that out of the show notes and go and do it tomorrow because it's funny. It's tweets that are funny from women.
Oh.
Do we go over that now or do we go over it tomorrow?
You know, I think you could put the rest in show notes, and we go over that one now.
What do you mean put the rest in show notes and go
Yeah,
over
like
this one?
don't even talk about the rest, and we'll just do this one.
No. No, that's
That's
not,
what he's
because
saying.
if I don't talk about it now, we have to talk about it tomorrow. And I have to erase it off from the show notes. Because
Okay, well then
everything,
save the funnies for tomorrow.
yeah, see, that's what I thought.
Stupid.
So, let's see. The Home Alone guy, Daniel Stern, the guy that played Marv? No. Yeah, Marv.
Mhm.
Not Harry. Harry was Joe Pesci, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Marv was actually a whistleblower on a TV network back in the day. Or it was a TV show that he was a whistleblower of. He just put out a book that's called Alone at Home or something like that. Hold on. Dadgummit. I'll open up the dadgum article. I didn't think I'd have to open
He
the
just came out with a
dadgum.
book that's called
Yeah, I know. It's a brain fart.
just buffers. You see
It's called Home and Alone, which he says that he was in a TV show called Partners in 1999. Unfortunately, the show fell apart amid accusations of sexual harassment and a multi-million-dollar lawsuit levied against the Home Alone star. He says, quote, they offered me a boatload of money, made me an executive producer. They had a big-name director, Brett Ratner, and we cast great actors, including Jeremy Piven, he recalls in his book. And then he goes on to say Brett and Jeremy were sexually harassing a lot of the women that were on set and harassing a lot of people. Stern alleges... ad popped up on it. Stern alleges that soon after they began filming the pilot, women on the set started confiding in him, claiming that both Brett and Jeremy were sexually harassing them and that they were afraid. The Home Alone actor said that he told the other executive producers about what he had heard, but was allegedly advised to, quote, just keep quiet about it, end quote, as they, quote, would handle it, end quote. Stern writes that he was eventually called into a meeting with Columbia TV honchos who were allegedly annoyed with him for bringing up his concerns. That was the right thing to do. So kudos to him, but it's also probably why you haven't seen him in hardly anything since. Because Daniel Stern probably got the reputation of being, he won't play ball. So
We're not going to throw anything his way.
yeah, because he brought it up in '99. So this is far before the Me Too movement. This is before any real change was happening in Hollywood. And are they really changing? But anyway, so this was way before any of the modern issues. And Brett Ratner is one of the guys that allegedly has that reputation. And Jeremy Piven, this was during his season of being, the it guy. So I could see him definitely being allegedly like that. So kudos to Daniel Stern for Marv to stand up like that and tell
I like him.
I do too. I've seen him in a few things, but his comedy, like I used to see his comedy routines. I really like his comedy routines because they're funny. Look them up. They're all over YouTube. You can find all the other stuff under YouTube. There is a death investigation into Matthew Perry's death. They're actually investigating the ketamine overdose. Ketamine is something that is used with former addicts, and it's got all kinds of other uses. And they allege that whoever was giving him the ketamine kind of overdid it. Law enforcement sources tell us that in an ongoing investigation into where Matthew got the ketamine that ended up playing a part in his death, and the main questions are who provided the drug and under what circumstances. Somebody, and I can't remember who it was around the time that he died, when they found out that it was a ketamine overdose, they said that they had tried ketamine for some kind of treatment and they got scared by it. And I think that, I can't remember who it was. I apologize. I know this is horrible reporting, but they got so scared, and they were somebody that was like a big time drug abuser. And they were like, that stuff scared me. So they ran away from it. And they were upset that, Matthew Perry, who struggled with addictions, had been prescribed ketamine because they were like, this is not good. This was not a good thing. And it's a failure on the medical side. I agree with that. Medical people should always be investigated. Like what happened with Michael Jackson, investigate who gave him all the drugs, who got all the drug prescriptions written for him, who administered them. I agree completely with that. The people that are doing illegal drugs, and I know this sounds like, it's two different, or it's the same thing, or I'm being hypocritical, but people like Mac Miller, who OD'd on an illegal drug, don't go after the drug dealer. Like, that makes no sense to me. The medical people are supposed to, quote, know better. When you're buying illegal drugs, you should know that there's a chance that it could kill you. Most people understand that have ever bought drugs illegally. You know that whoever you're buying it from, if you don't know them, it could be shady, it could be mixed with something, it could be laced with something. And then going after the drug dealer for something that you took is just insane. Now, if somebody prescribes you something that leads to your death, it's a whole nother bag of worms, and it's completely different in my eyes anyway. But I don't agree with going after drug dealers. And I'm not saying they're good people, because I don't want to be confused being saying that. I'm just saying it makes no sense to go after them. Jelly Roll, speaking of drug addicts, Jelly Roll has said that the only thing that is keeping him sober right now, can you guess what it is?
His wife?
Marijuana.
Oh.
Yeah. He says if he didn't have marijuana, he would be doing cocaine, codeine, and he said lines of cocaine, codeine, and something else. And it's like, in the marijuana, it's like, dude, you're slamming back cocaine and you're sitting there going to argue and tell me that marijuana is still giving you the high that you need. I'm not bashing Jelly. I'm just saying, if you're slamming back codeine and cocaine and you're like, oh, but the marijuana keeps me good. But he says it's because of his anxiety. He's got really bad anxiety. And he says if he hits the joint a few times that he's good. And he's like, it gets him in trouble because a lot of people are like, no, you shouldn't be promoting the drug use over the other drug use, that you should just try to wean yourself off. But those people don't understand how severe some people's anxiety can really be. It can be crippling. And it's something that I didn't used to really understand wholeheartedly myself. But as I've grown to know people that are crippled by anxiety, And people that I've interviewed in the show or in the course of my career that have been like, hey, man, you really need to understand that it's like this for me. It can be very debilitating for a lot of people. And Jelly Roll has talked about how that is one of the things for him. But he says, quote, I think a world without weed would have me drinking codeine and popping Xanax and snorting cocaine again. But a world with weed, I'll be all right. So good for him. Because again, more than half of the country has legalized weed. And I have said from the jump, anybody that comes out and says they're going to federally decriminalize marijuana, they'll be the next president.
Just you
regardless. It is Nick B in the morning. When we come back in about 16, 17 minutes or so, it will be to give you birthdays and our customary goodbye. So stick around for that. It is Nick B in the morning. Welcome back into Nick B in the morning. You got myself, LB and JR, in here with you today.
I'm here.
And we have reached the end of the show, if you can believe it.
Oh, Yay!
It's time for us to give you our customary goodbye. But before we give you our customary goodbye, we give you birthdays if they're worth it. And if you go to the birthdays and you give a scan really quickly to see if 2 or more people are on the list that should be named, I see a couple. Yep, we got to name some. So if today is your birthday, we want to say happy birthday, and we play a special song for you by a little band that you may have heard of called the Beatles. They're from England, I believe, somewhere over there.
So that means they're British.
And I think that Paul guy is pretty good at writing songs. I think he's got a real career ahead of him. And he wrote this one, and he wants to sing you happy birthday, and that's what he's getting ready to do. He's going to sing to you, but before that, you need to know about the breakdown. We wait for the breakdown. We yell about it. So, yeah. It is the Beatles. What am I trying to say? The damn breakdown. Wait for the breakdown. I know I'm talking. Okay, so look, this is what we're going to do. We're going to stop it. I'm going to collect my thoughts, and we're going to do this again. We play a song by a little group that you may have heard of known as the Beatles, and Paul McCartney is the guy that wants to sing to you. We wait for the breakdown. In the breakdown, LB is going to scream. She's okay, though. I promise. Those of you that are listening to us on the socials, though, you're not going to hear anything but the chairs making noises and feet tapping and all of that good stuff. But Paul wants to sing to you, and he's going to do it now. Sing it, Paul! That's much better.
I call this my funky chicken.
You drunk chicken.
It's my pirate chicken.
Here comes the breakdown.
Getting ready to throw myself. Where is it? Ah! There it is.
And again, if today is your birthday, we want to wish you a happy birthday.
gotta reach
I'm
deep
already
down
done.
below and get it.
I'm out the door. That was such a struggle to get through. If today is your birthday, we want to wish you a happy birthday, but you
Happy
spend
birthday.
it with these somewhat famous people, and we only name those that we think our audience as a whole is going to know. So, yeah, YouTube stars, TikTok stars, unless they're massive, we're not going to tell you. The number 6 guy, though, he was in Grown Ups. He was one of the kids in Grown Ups. He was also in what's that crazy Disney show where it's all the bad people's kids?
Descendants.
Yeah, he was in Descendants. But unfortunately, he died in 2019.
Oh,
Cameron
Cruella's kid.
Cameron Boyce, I believe Boyce is how you say his last name. Today would have been his birthday, but of course he passed away in 2019. He had epilepsy, I believe, and he had a seizure in his sleep. Number 8.
I used to think he was adorable.
I'm actually surprised that this dude is on the list at number 8. He turns 30 today. So he's a Gemini. He's from Arizona. He is a pop singer. And let's see, he signed to Columbia Records in 2014. The music video that he first released had over 477 million views on his self-titled YouTube channel. He's from a small town in Arizona and would have moved to Los Angeles for college and would later move to Los Angeles for college. He has an older sister named Logan who married in early 2015. It was after buying an Eminem album at the age of 10 that he became determined to create music. In fact, he has written songs about his sister. If you haven't figured it out.
Is it Benjamin?
No. Yeah, Alec Benjamin. It is Alec Benjamin. Let Me Down Slowly is the song that hit 477 million views. Sorry, I thought you said somebody else. You said the right thing, but I'm telling you, I'm done for some reason.
Yeah, same here. I had a horrible time figuring that out.
My brain is just fried.
Is it Alec
He's
Benjamin?
30 years old now.
Wow.
When he came out in 2014, which again I know was 10 years ago, he was 20. What? It's strange how that works, right? 10 years ago.
Numbers.
10 years ago, the 30-year-old was 20. Wow, who'd have known? Kylie Minogue, who most people in today's world probably aren't going to know right off the bat. But she had one of the more famous hits of Do the Locomotion with Me. She was also in Moulin Rouge. That's where some people know her. She is 56 years old today. She started really young, but since she's a female, we don't want to bring that up. Seth Rollins, the wrestler, he's 38 years old today. Don't know any of these people. Let's see. Gladys Knight, one of the biggest soulful singers from back in the day, that sang on I Heard It Through the Grapevine. She had Midnight Train to Georgia, a bunch of other songs with her Pips. Gladys Knight and the Pips. People always thought she said pimps. She is 80 years old today. Let's see. Who else is on this list? Kobe Calais, the pop singer. She is 39 years old today. Jerry West, the basketball player, is 86 years old today. Jack Johnson is 46 years old today. Do you know who Jack Johnson is?
No.
I want to check on this really quickly because I don't know if it's him or not. And before I say that, let me just...
Well, while he's over there, look at the cat. Fear for your life.
See if that's him. Yep, that's him. He's in Let's Be Cops. The white guy in Let's Be Cops, specifically. Oh, wow. He's not that much older than me. That's frightening. He is 46 years old today. Carrie Mulligan, who is an actress, she is 39 years old today. Rudy Giuliani is 80 years old today. And the guy that they did The Blind Side about, Michael Oher, is 38 years old today. So again, if it is your birthday, happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday.
And since that took up more time than it normally does, my customary goodbye is going to be a little bit brief today, and it's going to be short and simple and sweet and to the point, and this is it. Hug your loved ones each and every day because you never know when the good Lord will call them home. And if you still have your parents, if you're lucky enough to still have them, give them a call, or better yet, go visit them, hug on them, and tell them that you love them. Because once they're gone, you're going to miss them like hell. Take it from me. And if you remember nothing else from me, I want you to remember this. Never trust a big butt and a smile. Last call will find us all. For every dark night, there's always a brighter day, and life is just a party, and parties weren't meant to last, LB.
Bye. That's the way I love you. Be careful. Don't forget to smile. Stay positive.
And JR.
So long, see you later, good night, and I hope you enjoyed the ride.
We will see you bright and early tomorrow morning to do it all over again for the Wednesday edition of the show. For some reason, I felt like today was Wednesday all day. But tomorrow is Wednesday, so come in, check us out tomorrow as we do our Hump Day show. And yeah, if you want to learn more about us, www.nickbnation.com. That's where you can go and find out everything about us. You can find links to all of our shows, all of the different shows that I do. You can go up there. I just realized, because JR pointed it out to me, I haven't updated the Alpha Countdown's results. That's my bad. I'll get to that as soon as the show is
Say
over.
goodbye, zoo
and
animals.
get that fixed. But you want to learn
Ace
more about
Ventura.
us, nickbnation.com. Go to that'sfrank.com to put in keyword NickB to save 25% off of their awesome coffee. Highly recommend the Mexican chocolate. It's what I drink all the time. I fast every day, and I don't drink the coffee until 9 o'clock, and my coffee is now done. That's how good it is. But you can hear the difference in my voice, too, of what it does and how it coats my
Get
voice.
really close
so again,
to the mic.
if you're somebody that deals with throat issues,
Get really close to the speakers.
if you're somebody
I promise I won't scream.
that deals with throat issues, check out the Mexican chocolate. I'm not giving you any kind of medical advice. YouTube, damn it.
No,
but
BS,
yes,
just great coffee.
you can go to nickbnation.com to figure everything out about us. That's going to do it for us. We will see you tomorrow morning, bright and early, to do it all over again. But for now, we're out of here. Y'all be good. Y'all be safe. We'll see you tomorrow morning.
Thank you for listening. No, seriously, thank you. Copyright Nick B. Entertainment. All rights reserved. Unauthorized reproduction of the show in whole or in part without the express written consent of Nick B. Entertainment is not allowed. Seriously, we know people. To keep up with all the craziness going on, visit www.nickbnation.com. Y'all be good to each other. We'll see you next time.